Hello everyone. Today I want to start with something I spent 4 years working on, my PhD. I'll get to the outcome in a minute, but I want to concentrate on the process. As I said, my PhD took 4 years, or 4 years and 1 month to be precise. And when I look at how I divided up the time, it works out pretty evenly. Most of the first year was focused on scoping the field and defining the problem I wanted to solve. Having narrowed that down, I spent 12 months coming up with potential solutions and rejecting them until I found the right one. The next 12 months were all about refining and developing this solution, prototyping it, building it, testing it with users, and gathering feedback. And I spent the final year analysing and writing up my results, making revisions, and finally, ta-da! What was my project? This little guy, Rover. He's a robot vacuum cleaner that runs on gratitude. I'll put a link to more about him in the video notes. But back to this diagram. 12 months coming up with ideas, sketching them, working out logistics, and ultimately throwing them in the bin. That's 1/4 of my PhD spent on concepts that ultimately didn't go anywhere. What a waste! Or was it? I actually think it was time very well spent. Sure, it could be frustrating. It was tempting to go with concepts that did the job or met most of my specifications or were good enough. But I'm thankful my supervisors encouraged me to keep going until I was confident I had a solution that would meet my brief, engage my users, and that I could look back on with pride. I don't necessarily believe that our first idea is always our worst idea, but it shouldn't be our only idea. Sure, we may end up coming back to it, but only after we've generated some alternatives, assessed them, and decided that number one is still the one. So how do we get past first choice fixation, or design fixation as it's sometimes called? Let's take assessment 3 as our starting point. The first strategy is to get a second opinion. If we can't get beyond our first idea in our mind, we need to get another mind involved. Explain the brief to someone, then talk through your idea and ask what's good about it and what's not so good. You can chat with another engineer, a potential user, or just a friend. You're not asking them to solve the problem, just to give you a hint on what direction you could pursue next. These next strategies involve introducing some creative prompts into your problem solving to get you thinking in a new direction. Stanford D School recommends what they call powers of 10. What could be the result if our tetrahedron was 10 times bigger, or 10 times smaller, or if we had 10 times the budget? It's all about exploring how different scales open up different possibilities. A related approach is to rework your idea to fit some additional constraints. What if you had to redesign your tetrahedron to be a children's toy, or make it out of something edible? What if you reimagined it as made by McDonald's or Apple? This can be a lot of fun. Or try one of Edward de Bono's thinking prompts. For example, you could make a statement about your problem that's not true or even logical in order to push your thinking in a new direction. How about, tetrahedrons are bigger on the inside than on the outside? Obviously, that's not the case, but it might get you thinking about unfolding or unwrapping your idea, or possibly a tetrahedron-shaped TARDIS. Finally, here's a more systematic approach that works when you already have 3 or 4 ideas to build on. It's a morphological chart. You may have come across it before. There are many good resources out there on how to create one, which I'll link to in the video notes. So this is just a brief overview. You identify what your ideas have in common, group these features together in categories, and systematically list or draw them in a table. This enables you to take aspects from each solution and recombine them to produce new ones. Or you can focus on one aspect to use as inspiration for further brainstorming. In the notes with this video, I've put some links to more resources plus some discussion questions. I'd encourage you to try one or more of the ideas we've covered and report back. Your first idea may still end up being your best idea, but at least you won't be left wondering, what if?